What's up, everybody? KleverKrok back for this finals of Season 3 between Minnesota Mucks and the Kentucky Krookodiles. Now, the whole tournament has really been pretty crazy. Just seeing the upsets that have happened, see the Mucks rise to their potential and making it to the finals to play against the Krookodiles, and the Krookodiles playing against some really tough teams to get to where they're at now, too. We've just got this match this week, obviously, to sum up Season 3. And this week I've got Mr. Jasperious. I remembered.
Yay!
Coach of the Raikous. What's up, man?
Nothing much. Just trying to get everything plugged in so I don't die halfway through the call.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll let you start. So, what do you have to say about the match so far?
Overall, it was a really, really awesome match. I'm so stoked that somebody new made it to the finals and just the massive improvement that the Mucks made. One really awesome thing is the Slow King, which under different circumstances would have worked wonderfully. But because he came in on a switch, it just kind of rendered the item it used a little bit useless. Other than that, really smart plays. Just a matter of whose strategy was better at that point. It's a really, really good match. I'm so happy it ended like this. Would have liked the Mucks to win, be the a new team for the first time, but it was awesome.
Yeah, he definitely brought some stuff that I wasn't expecting, and being, the coach of the Crocodiles, I prepared as best as I thought I could. I kind of had a seven slot syndrome, where I was really tied between bringing Scizor and Crocodile, um, just trying to figure out what I needed. But yeah, the weakness policy Slow King was really unexpected. What he could have done, though, I mean, even on the switch in, he didn't have to go for Toxic on Thunderbird, my Zapdos. He could have gone for the Scald, expecting the electric attack. And even if I used Volt Switch and switched out, I don't have anything that resists a Scald, so I probably wouldn't have gone into Chansey. I mean, it's a kind of a possibility, but it would have done some damage, and so it would have been a good point to kind of keep up pressure there. It would have forced me to make a decision as opposed to just keeping my pressure with the Volturn core I had going. I did make a misplay with the Weavile. I wasn't paying attention when I used knockoff on the Volcarona that already used its red card, which is another unconventional thing I didn't expect, which worked out for him because I went for the choice banded knockoff expecting it to kill, and it didn't because he already had no item. So that was a misplay on my end. And then I think, yeah, I mean, those two things were really kind of like caught me off guard. One worked in his favor and the other one didn't. The skill swap on the Slow King would have worked at an earlier point in the match where the Slow King had more health. Because having Magic Bounce on that, and let's say I went for some sort of status, that would have been pretty funny. And so I can definitely see some of it working. I'd say one of the biggest issues is that he didn't have a reliable way to get rid of hazards, and the only way he did was with Mega Absol, and with rocks up on the field, it changed the game from a 1-0 to a 4-0. And I mean, that's how close it was, honestly. It was, had he destroyed my Zapdos and didn't have the rocks up on his side, like if that didn't happen, he would have, had me at a 1-0. I still feel confident that I would have won, but it would have been very, very close. And it still was. But not abusing the Magic Bounce on the Mega Absol, predicting some of the moves like Stealth Rocks, even though Chansey doesn't usually carry rocks on its set. Um, I don't know. I feel like that was the biggest, I don't know if I'd call it a team building mistake or just a decision mistake. Ultimately, it was a drafting mistake, not having, and other teams definitely have this issue too of not having the best way to set up hazards and or remove hazards. and it ended up playing a crucial role in how their season turned out. So I guess two big things is don't be afraid to bring unconventional stuff because it works if you plan it right, and if you know when to use it and how to execute it, it can work really well. And don't underestimate the importance of a good draft and of drafting things that cover basic basic important things like laying and setting hazards and removing hazards with defog and rapid spin, because without that, it's really easy to abuse and like put pressure to force you and just really kind of control the entire game by having hazards and aggressive Pokemon. So really, the biggest thing I'd encourage everyone to do is to consider having a good Pokemon that is reliable with defog or rapid spin, so that they can take care of hazards, but also not to underestimate how good hazards are. I know that most people usually use stealth rocks and stuff, but spikes and toxic spikes are also really good. So like I would just kind of point that out for next season, that when you guys are drafting, just to consider that. So
Yeah, I definitely made that mistake of not getting a person that could set up hazards or a person that could get rid of them. So that led to my demise a little bit. Won't be making that mistake again.
And I know I explained this last week in my match with the Charmillionaires, but Dan only had, what was it, Mew to remove and set up hazards. So, and he hasn't used Mew as setup or utility from later in the season. So I didn't expect him to do that, and to run defog and stealth rocks on Mew kind of stops him from being able to do some of the stuff he likes to do with offensive Mew and substitute with setup and baton passing. He can't do all of that. So I knew that with as successful as that's been, and knowing that like he likes that, I knew that I could run rocks and abuse that, and it ended up working really well for me. So yeah, that's just another example of where hazards were really important in how a crucial match played out. So what else? The Mucks again played really well. That Volcarona, had it not gone down to rocks, like I was saying, that thing probably would have ripped through my team at least a little bit. Made it a 2 or 1-0. I did have some advantages just matchup wise with Scizor and Talonflame having that priority on some of his more offensive Pokemon as well as his defensive Pokemon, and then having a Mega Sableye for... Really, I think my biggest fears were actually Seismitoad and Garchomp, and he didn't bring Seismitoad. So Garchomp was a problem because I wasn't going to bring Sylveon when he had like 5 resists to Fairy type. So yeah. Anything else to add, Chase?
No, just I'm proud of you guys. I hope for more improvement. Can't wait for the season to start next week.
Cool. Well, I guess we'll take a look since we haven't talked about it in video yet. I know I announced it in the Season 3 group me and everything regarding awards, but we might as well go through and just mention each of the awards since it's the end of Season 3. And since a lot of people did really well and really grew in their strategies and their play style and stuff, might as well recognize some of the people. So, Season 3 champs were the Krookodiles, as we just discussed. Greninja got Most Valuable Player, obviously, because it had the highest KD ratio with, I think, 26 or 25 knockouts and like 6 feints or something like that. Coached by Big Dan from the Charmillionaires. That thing just over and over, especially in the last like 3 or 4 weeks, really kind of swept like 5 and 6-0, and it really kind of came back out of it staying at 4th place for most of the season. Just skipped right by. Let's see. Next was the best newbie, which this award goes to the best new coach who's not been in the league before, and the candidates were the Black Ice and the Wobbuffets because those were the two new coaches. So we talked about it, and we really thought that the Wobbuffets really demonstrated their strength this season. They did a lot of really good things, and they even made it to the tournament, so it was definitely worth giving it to them. So congrats to the Wobbuffets. Next was Coach of the GTA, which goes to a coach who shows good sportsmanship, executes solid strategies, and shows improvement of some sort during the season in relation to past seasons or just in general throughout one season if it's their first season. And of course, any forfeits remove the opportunity of that person getting the award, which was given to KleverKrok, coach of the Krookodiles. And then next we had the best defensive player, which is the person who was the player who was able to best stop most momentum regarding, so if you're like really putting pressure on this person's team, since this is Justified and Zubatman, in a lot of his matches, when he brought Mega Venusaur, which I think he brought it to all of his matches, but that's another thing to discuss. When he brought in Venusaur, it kind of stopped momentum of any kind, and it was just able to soak up all kinds of hits and really put the pressure back on them. And so just that stalling and that crushing of momentum and converting that into his own favor really was why we kind of agreed that Mega Venusaur should get that award this year. And then last was most unique player, which goes to Chandelure, who was on Fakemon United, coached by Faiha. And this was just for most unique sets, not necessarily the uniqueness of the Pokemon itself, but the uniqueness of how it was used in the season. So obviously, Ditto is a very unique Pokemon because of what it can do, but it's not it's innately unique. Its movesets aren't unique, So Chandelure, there were a number of things that Chandelure did, especially during the early to mid season, that really kind of showed that it was being used really well by Faiha. And just so I think the first one that I remember was used on me, and it was
Imprison.
Imprison. Oh man, Imprison. Yeah, we talked about that week. It was week 2, 3, or 4 or something like that, and he had Imprison, and he locked down everything except for Recover on my Sableye, completely shut me down, and that was awesome. Let's see. He also ran a Calm Mind variant one week, and I think what else did he run? We talked about one other thing that really stuck out to us. I don't know.
It was Clear Smog. I think it was Clear
Smog. That's what
Black
it was.
Ice.
Yeah, he used Clear Smog on the Sigilif that was using Cosmic Power, and it totally nerfed what they were doing and pretty much won the game for him at that point. It set the match completely in his favor, and it really worked out for him. So that's why we decided that Chandelure should get that award. So in general, it was a really good season. I really appreciate you guys supporting this series as well as sticking through the season, and I'm excited to see what happens in Season 4. Alright, well, as far as I know, that's all I've got for this week, so I don't know if we'll have a video next week for the GTA, since our draft will be going on then, but we may have 2 to 3 videos the following week, so just keep an eye out for the draft discussion, or I guess it's more called the preseason power rankings and all that good stuff. And be sure to check back at the website, as we will be having new teams. We're projected to have probably 16 teams this season, but you never know. Hopefully that works out. Either way, though, we will see you all in a few weeks, and have a good one. Thanks for watching, guys. If y'all enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you want, subscribe for more videos. Hope to see y'all in the future, and thank you for watching.